First of all, I want to thank you all for being here today. Um, we're really proud to stand here today in Cherry Hill, my community, and announce an unprecedented partnership and community benefits agreement between Sagamore Development and the South Baltimore communities of Brooklyn, Cherry Hill, Curtis Bay, Lakeland, Mount Winans, and Westport, what we like to call the SB6 Coalition. As the most immediate neighborhoods of Port Covington, we will be the most impacted by the redevelopment of Port Covington. And we have been working closely with Sagamore team for months. In fact, the nature of our relationship, I would, state as being one of really working in conjunction in order to solve many of the problems of our communities. It was a lot more like, what can we do together than a negotiation session. Their commitment to Baltimore reaches far beyond Port Covington, and that's why we're here today. I have been throughout the Baltimore City area, and we've announced that this is a deal that we believe benefits all of Baltimore City, and particularly this area of South Baltimore. We are excited about our long-term partnership. Over the years, there's been a lot of philanthropy and financial contributions to the South Baltimore area. There's been a lot that's been done for us or to us, but not with us. This is an opportunity for us to work with Sagamore and improving the nature and the condition of these communities in the South Baltimore area. I am humbled by having the opportunity to come back to a community in which I was raised, where my playground was a city dump with an incinerator beside it. When the time period when this very school that I attended was marked as the colored school, in a community in which it's manifested primarily by low-income housing. For 70 years now, our community have dealt with these particular issues, but now it's an opportunity for us to do something about it. The same holds true to our neighbors at Westport and in Mount Winans. One of the pleasures of working with this group has been that it's been one of the first times that organizations or communities such as Curtis Bay and Brooklyn and Cherry Hill and Westport come together. When I was growing up, black folk didn't dare come through Curtis Bay or so. Today we sit around a table saying and recognizing that we have more in common than we have differently. That we bring our resources together to say that we can do better for all of us. And the best thing that's already happened in relationship to this negotiation has been that our communities have been brought together. And we hope by collaboration amongst these communities that we'll be able to improve all of South Baltimore, and in so doing, we improve the city of Baltimore as well. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time up here talking because it's hot. But this couldn't be done without the help of many people. Besides those individuals who work with us on this agreement, and who will sign this historic agreement today. We also had the help of people like Diane Glover, who from the Lawyers Committee on Civil Rights, just a fantastic job as our attorney, helped by Greg Countess from Legal Aid, who also grew up out here and worked out here and who continues with this commitment to this community. And I dare not forget our legislative representatives who were there at every meeting as consultant and as advisors, our good Senator Bill Ferguson and Delegate Brooke Learman. And they knew their part. They knew their part. I would dare say that this is a community-driven agreement and partnership with Sagamore, that people like the senator and like the delegate and like our lawyers were there to assist us when we needed them. They didn't dictate what was going on. They didn't tell us what we had to do, but they helped us, and they were there as facilitators and resources, so whenever we were in need of help, it was provided. Our delegation from the federal to stateside have all been so very helpful. You know, people like President City Council Jack Young was always there, telephone call away with any and everything that we needed. Um, the mayor has always had her hands out and our heart open to the Cherry Hill community, and for these things we are very, very thankful. Speaking of the mayor, she's the next person listening. And, you know, you always have to wait for good things. And the mayor knows that she's good. Uh, but it is always. But Mayor Blake is not a stranger by any means to the Cherry Hill community. She's out here whenever we need her. She's always a call away. It is an honor of mine to call her to the podium to share in this great day of rejoice in the communities of South Baltimore. I present to you the Mayor of Baltimore City.
Thank you, sir. It is a pleasure to be introduced by the Mayor of Cherry Hill. And Mayor, I am sorry I kept you waiting in this heat, and all of you. Sorry, I was running a little late this morning. This is an amazing day for Baltimore, and I'm so honored to be here to talk again about Port Covington and what it means for this community, surrounding communities, as well as all of Baltimore for the next several decades. You've heard it said before that Port Covington will be transformational for our city, and I truly believe that. It will be transformational for our city in terms of our economy, in terms of thousands of jobs and opportunities for our residents, and in terms of the tremendous environmental cleanup of the Middle Branch already underway. In terms of keeping one of our greatest companies, Under Armour, here in Baltimore, which was a major priority, and in terms of real impactful investment in our communities. Under Armour and Sagamore are true partners with Baltimore, and today's unprecedented commitment to the South Baltimore communities is right in line with their record-breaking community investments that we have already seen. Back in April, I stood with many Baltimore community leaders and the team from Sagamore to announce their historic agreements on supplier diversity and inclusion, local hiring, and affordable housing. I was pleased that Sagamore and Under Armour committed not only to reaching the goals outlined in those MOUs, but committed $10 million to fund the efforts of the MOU and beyond to implement the Baltimore City programs for education, workforce development, youth development, all of these things that our communities care about so much. And this is in addition to what they're already announcing today with the SB6 communities. Under Armour and Sagamore are not only investing money and financial resources, but they're also investing their time to listen to communities. As Mike just said, not just, it's one thing you can tell if someone is at the table for real and is listening because they have to check the box. And you can also tell when they're listening, when they are intending to be true partners. And I think, Mike, you said it best when you mentioned the way in which they came to the table with the SB6 communities. So the opportunities and the benefit of Port Covington can extend far beyond this peninsula into Cherry Hill and Curtis Bay, Brooklyn, Mount Winans, Lakeland, Westport, and all of Baltimore City. And I'm pleased that Sagamore and Under Armour have reached this historic agreement. And I hope that other communities, not just in Baltimore and in Maryland, but around the country, take a look at what these communities did together to say we want better for our communities, and we're willing to sit down at the table and work through how we can all become better because of pivotal and historic development. So I want to thank the community leaders who have come together to work together to ensure that this project is a success for surrounding communities. I want to thank the development team and everyone who made today possible. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, I covered up the program. I would now like to introduce Kristen Clark, Executive Director of Lawyers Committees for Civil Rights.
Good morning. My name is Kristen Clark. I'm the President and Executive Director of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under Law, which provided pro bono legal assistance to SB6 during this months-long collaborative, productive process that brings us all here today. Today marks the culmination of countless meetings, discussions, dialogue, and brainstorming sessions all about the future of South Baltimore. This historic agreement is about economic justice. It is about ensuring that major development projects produce meaningful benefits for residents. As a result of this process, 6 historically underserved communities comprised predominantly of African American residents will have a voice in projects impacting their neighborhood. Before this agreement, residents in South Baltimore were rarely invited to the table to participate in decisions that impact them, their families, and their communities. But this agreement makes it clear local communities must have a voice and must be beneficiaries of economic development projects that are carried out in their neighborhoods. The Lawyers Committee is proud to be an advocate on behalf of SB 6 during these discussions, and I want to recognize Diane Glauber from the Lawyers Committee team, who throughout this process said that it is all about the community. Sagamore's commitment to the future of Baltimore City is real. Their commitment to ensuring that the South Baltimore communities share in the real economic, social, and cultural benefits of a redeveloped Port Covington is real. This community benefits agreement will mean real investment in South Baltimore for decades and meaningful investment aligned with the priorities and needs of these communities. The Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law is proud to be at the table and to be a part of this historic and extraordinary process, and I am confident that a redeveloped Port Covington will have a far-reaching and positive impact on this area for generations to come. Thank you. I want to now introduce Tom Geddes, CEO of Plank Industries.
Good morning. On behalf of Kevin Plank, on behalf of Sagamore Development Company, and on behalf of all of the Plank Industries companies that are devoted to investment in Baltimore, thank you for being here on this exciting day. It has been said that cities have the capability of providing something for everybody, only when and only because they are created by everybody. Only when and only because they are created by everybody. Today is a huge step in that direction as we unveil an historic, unprecedented investment partnership between a developer and Baltimore communities. A partnership this significant in terms of dollars, time, and scale has never before been established in Baltimore. It is the result of months of productive and in-depth dialogue between Sagamore and the SB6 communities. Together, the SB6 and Sagamore will be creating a long-term sustainable financing entity to fund the immediate, ongoing, and generational needs of the communities in the SB6 area. This is not a one-time deal. This funding mechanism will still be in place when I'm almost 70 years old. I may not look it, but I'm only 38. It will have a profound positive impact on South Baltimore for generations to come. The agreement is as follows. Sagamore and its affiliates will provide $10 million in baseline funding to support the operation of the new community investment entity over the next 5 years, $5 million in direct payments and $5 million in raised funds. Sagamore and the SB6 will then work together to raise another $10 million during the subsequent 5 years. The entity will be sustained over the life of the TIF bonds in Port Covington by receiving a share of an annual fee per square foot and a surcharge applied to transfers of real property within Port Covington. As agreed, at least 2/3 of the revenues generated by these annual fees will be devoted to funding the priorities identified by the SB6 communities. It is expected that this will generate more than an additional $19 million to SB6 over the first 20 years of the redevelopment. The remaining balance will fund other citywide initiatives and programs focused on education, workforce development, and youth empowerment. This is an agreement not just for SB6, but for all of Baltimore. In addition, Sagamore has agreed that it will be an advocate for SB6 communities for city services, businesses, and cultural attractions, and funding from public and private entities. While difficult to place a value on all of this, these commitments of advocacy and resources will in and of themselves equal millions of dollars of time, expertise, funding, and community productivity. This is a true partnership. This 30-year partnership with SB6 is all on top of another $10 million referenced by the mayor, already promised by Sagamore to fund citywide priorities. that was part of the MOU agreements announced earlier this year, and other philanthropy by Under Armour and its CEO, Kevin Plank, not to mention the thousands of hours of community service by Under Armour teammates every year. For those who are counting, the total amount from the citywide MOU and this deal, with the redevelopment fully executed as planned, could total over $50 million. And this does not include the extraordinary economic benefits to the city from the redevelopment itself, in the form of investment, economic opportunity, and most importantly, good jobs and careers for residents of our city. Today's a little warm. The room where this deal was finalized over in Brooklyn was downright hot. This may be too much information, but it was a day when I was especially glad to work for a guy who makes moisture-wicking underclothes. I'm kind of grateful for that again today. But in addition to thick air and sweat, there was something else in that room. There was a spirit of goodwill, a spirit of good faith, a spirit of partnership, a spirit of hope for a better tomorrow for our city. Hope that you could almost reach out and touch. I was honored to sweat in the room where this deal happened. Thank you to our dedicated elected officials, and thank you above all to our SB6 neighborhood partners. I could not be more excited for our work together. Thank you. Now, my greatest honor of the day is to welcome to the podium a special and talented human being, a lawyer, a humanitarian, my friend, and the person on our team who did most of the real work here, Vice President of Sagamore, Alicia Wilson.
Thank you, Tom. With that, I should sit down. Thank you to everyone for having us here today. I'm Alicia Wilson, Vice President for Community Affairs and Legal Advisor to Sagamore Development. It has been an honor to work with many of you that are sitting right here in this front row. Thank you to Mike Middleton for your leadership and all the SB6 leaders who work day in and day out with us to bring forth this agreement. I'm going to mention you by name. I think it's important because you were behind the scenes. You're the unsung heroes that helped put together this transformative agreement. James Alston, Miss Ann McLean, Gregory Countess from the Legal Aid Bureau, Kia Calloway, and Miss Ann Robinson, Keisha Allen, Miss Cleota Walker, Andrea Mayer, Diane Glauber from the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law, David Bowers, Enterprise Homes, Pamela Oliver, Bill Ferguson and Brooke Learman, Anthony Vaughn, Andy Dees, Diane Ingram, Alvin Lee, somewhere right there, Kathy McLean, Betsy Krieger, Lisa Hodges, Mike Middleton, Danielle Wiggins, Jessica McLeod, Bishop Willard Saunders, Miss Peggy Jackson-Job, Miss Betty Bays, Mr. William Pack, and please forgive me if my mind forgot anyone that my heart remembers. But we couldn't have come here today without you. This is an historic, unprecedented investment, partnership, community benefits agreement between a developer and the Baltimore communities. The agreement that will be signed today is the results of months of productive and in-depth dialogue and discussions. While I was preparing my remarks, I was trying to count the number of meetings we went to. I lost count. I couldn't remember. But we met more than half a dozen times, everywhere from Harbor Hospital to Cherrydale Apartments to Cherry Hills Shopping Center to City Garage to the Chesapeake Center for Youth Development to have thoughtful, constructive, and tough discussions. It wasn't an easy process, not by any means. We spoke with candor and passion, but more importantly, with respect. I cannot tell you how much I admire you, the leaders of these 6 communities that came together to engage in a collaborative process with one aim in mind, and that is of improving their communities. One of the memories I'll never forget, and I won't keep you long, is when I was trying to find Mr. Middleton one day after I left something at one of our meetings. He was not answering his phone, so I came to Cherry Hill with the hopes of finding him. I first went to the coalition office and couldn't find him, but one of the gentlemen across the street said, "Who are you looking for?" I said, "Mr. Mike." He said, "Mr. Mike is down there at the shopping center." So I went to the shopping center, and when I went to the shopping center, I couldn't find Mr. Mike. And someone said, "Who are you looking for?" And I said, "Mr. Mike." And they said, "I think Mr. Mike is down there at Cherry Hill Homes." And I don't want to tell you that story to relate how hard it is to sometimes find Mike Middleton, but rather I related to illustrate how embedded each of these leaders is in their communities. You cannot go into Westport and not find Keisha Allen, James Alston. You cannot go into Lakeland and not find Kia Calloway, or Curtis Bay in Brooklyn and find Andy Dees, Andrea Mayer, or Diane Ingram, or Mount Winans and find Miss Ann Robinson, or Cherry Hill and find Miss Betty Bays, Miss Cleo Walker, Miss Ann McLean, Miss Kathy McLean, or Bishop Saunders, or Miss Peggy Jackson Cole, or countless others of the leaders that were involved in this dialogue. I can say we are proud to be here together. We're proud of the amazing process that got us here, and we're even more proud to build Covington with our closest neighbors by our side. With that, I'd like to introduce you to Senator Bill Ferguson.
Good morning. What a beautiful day, right? This is remarkable. You know, this is exciting, folks. This is a historic moment. I was just sitting here thinking that I have a 3-year-old son, Caleb, and the duration of this agreement, he will be the same age I am today. And throughout that period, all of the partnership resources that are being dedicated as a part of this agreement will be driven into these communities, led by these community leaders in front of me and behind me. This is truly, truly something special. I just want to take a quick moment. How many folks have a press conference on an asphalt parking lot in the middle of a neighborhood? There's a reason why we're here. I'd like everybody to kind of take a quick look at Cherry Hill Elementary Middle School. This is a staple building in Cherry Hill, and I think it's symbolic of what's going to be happening with this agreement. This summer, the kids and educators and leaders at Cherry Hill Elementary Middle School will be moving to the building behind me at the old Patapsco Elementary School. And over the next 18 months, a brand new 21st century school facility will be built where you are sitting right here today. I say that in the context of this agreement because I want to be clear that the ideas and the powers and the plans, they've been in existence. The folks in this front row that have been negotiating this agreement, these folks, this agreement provides the fuel to take these neighborhoods not only to the next level, but to be everything that these folks have dreamed about and have known is possible if only they had the means to do it. And it has been truly an honor. I have to take a quick moment to thank my friend and colleague and partner in the 46th District, Delegate Brooke Learman. Absolutely instrumental. We could not have done this without her. I want to thank Council President Jack Young and the Mayor for consistently being open to conversation and helping us think through how to move forward. And I want to thank Sagamore and the folks from Under Armour that are here today, because this really matters. This is what equitable development should look like. This is a template for how development should happen in Baltimore, and I am so incredibly humbled and honored to have had any small part of being part of this process. I want to finish by just saying we have a lot of armchair naysayers in this city, and we have a lot of people that like to criticize big ideas and big plans. The folks that are in this front row and that have been leading these communities over decades, they stand up and they do. They say, you know what, we're going to look at this opportunity and we are going to find a way to make sure that we make, not just benefit a little bit, but that it is the best damn deal that's possible. And let me tell you, what we are celebrating today is that deal. This is a historic moment for our city. And we can choose to embrace it. And if we do, the future is limitless. I want to thank you all for being here. Let's remember this moment. And let me finish by saying, let's get started, because the work begins today. Thank you. I have the distinguished honor of introducing somebody that is truly a champion in this city and that has been an ally and partner throughout this process, Council President Jack Young.
Ditto.
You're up, Mike.
All right, we're about ready to close out, but I'd be remiss if I did not recognize Miss Lisa Hodges. Now, the only reason, and she's from Enterprise Community Partners, and the only reason I didn't mention her earlier because she wasn't here on time. But our boss was David Bowers, and Lisa's just awesome as being a resource from Enterprise Community Partners. I just want to thank her and David. At this time, we want to invite members of SB6 to come to the table. At this time, we will sign this historic agreement. Now, each community is only relegated one vote, and there's only one signature space. So those people who are has the authorization to sign on behalf of their communities, I invite you to the head table at this time.